Hey, I'm Andrew Ansley, the co-founder of Content Sprout and director of marketing for Helium SEO. And today I'm going to go over entity stacking, which is not to be confused with cloud stacking or Google Stacks. This is entirely different, but you can use both of those things in order to help you achieve this process. So this is basically entity SEO in a nutshell. And I just have a quick little graph overview that I'm going to show you using Excalidraw here. And by the end of it, you should be able to understand and at least get a little bit further in being able to know, all right, this is the roadmap. From I need to do this, and this, and then I will be optimized as much as possible. So let's dig in. I'm going to zoom in real quick. And this one, I always say as a joke that I'm going to be 10 minutes or something. This one will actually be shorter. So I will not do a 30-minute long or 40-minute long. So let's dive right in. So the first step is we have the hidden layer over here. We have a visible page layer. Then we have the structural layer, which I just call the topic map, really. So let's start with the hidden layer. So the hidden layer has structured data, and then you have backlinks. It's hidden because readers aren't really going to see this. With structured data, we have image EXIF data, which is just the data that's embedded into an image. Anytime you take an image with a cell phone, for instance, there's always going to be geolocation data. There's going to be data about all sorts of different things, really. I'm not going to go into all the things because that's what makes these videos last so long. If you want to know more, just Google image EXIF data. Next, we have schema markup. And if you have not seen my previous video where I go and I break down schema that I created, there's like 300 lines of it. This is not your mama's schema. It's not Yoast. It's not just something out of the box that you're going to get on WordPress. You have to do it manually. And luckily, AI can help you with that. So I'm not going to dig too deep into that, but that's schema. So that's going to supply the layer that no one sees, and it's going to help. It's kind of like the foundational layer, really. It will help make sense of everything in the layers that are above it. So, or around it, whatever you want to say. Next, we have backlinks, and the way that backlinks are able to communicate different things about the entity is one, you have anchor text, and two, you also have paragraph context and sentence context. So it's no secret that Google uses the surrounding text around the anchor text in order to basically establish some sort of relevance metric for your backlinks. And no one's going to see these backlinks. Oftentimes when you're buying guest posts, it's just like no one's going to find them. I mean, SEOs find them because we use tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, that kind of thing. But that's why it's still part of the hidden layer. It's not technically hidden, but you get the picture. So I cannot stress enough how important paragraph context or at least sentence context is. So when you choose a link vendor, if you can use a link vendor that allows you to customize that, that's a little bit better. And when you're spending, I don't know, let's say you have to buy 5,000 backlinks total for your entire goal for your site. And let's say for a certain cluster, you just want a cluster being, just one kind of topic on your site. Let's say that needs 200 backlinks or referring domains. When you do things, these little micro optimizations, like your sentence context, paragraph context, any of that kind of stuff, and put extra time into the anchor text, there's going to be this exponential value that you'll receive. So it really is worth it. If you need backlinks, I'm not here to sell you, but Helium does sell backlinks, and we can customize the sentence context. So I'll move on to the next thing. Visible page layer. So let's go into that one. This one makes sense. I'm not going to spend any time. We have written, and that's just going to be your paragraphs, literally the text. It's you blogging, writing, all that jazz. And there's one more thing that you might not understand or at least know the importance of, and that is tables and lists. So when you are trying to rank in an entity SEO world or semantic SEO, When you have a diversity of data types, that is going to contextualize things for Google. It's going to be better for the user as well. Think about it this way: Google's algorithm is literally based off of the human brain. Its Rank Brain was named Rank Brain in 2018 for a reason. But the entire go to bard.google and ask what Google was modeled after, or the algorithm was modeled after. It's the human brain, and it's how we learn. So the way that the entity is being communicated to Google is the same way that a human wants to digest content anyway. Contextualize it for them. Provide a multitude of ways to dig into the content. So next we have graphical. And graphical is going to be images and video, easy peasy as well. Images should be, and remember, over here we have context, right? So the principles of context apply to images and video as well. The placement of that image, the placement of the video, that has a specific role to play. Don't just throw images. A featured image is great. But what's better is having an image. Let's say you have your H2 header, then you have some text, then you have an image between another paragraph. Well, what is that image doing? It's going to supply context for that paragraph above and paragraph below, and it's going to be understood through the filter or through the context of the heading that it is under. So if it's under an H2, that's the heading that it is being understood primarily through. If it's under an H3, which is nested under the H2, then once again, it should be emphasizing and providing clarity to the content in the H3, which is meant to provide clarity for the H2. And what's funny is the H2, if you're doing that properly as well, it's meant to provide sort of like this overarching summary, if you will, for the H3s and H4s that are below it. So that's how that whole, the role of images, that's the way that Google's processing things. So now that we've gone through images and video, we have one more thing, and this is the thing that I think most people struggle with, is the structural layer. So this one is page accessibility, contextual flow, heading vectors, topical coverage, and once again, anchor text. So what do I mean by page accessibility? I go through this on all my videos. I'm going to show, let's do Gitbook instead, actually. So there's a couple different websites that you can use. There's Gitbook. Oh, perfect, yeah. So let's see if I can just do a quick public docs, maybe. No, I don't want that one. Let's do docs. Perfect. So this is what I mean by accessibility. And page accessibility might not be the best way to talk about this, but really what I'm getting at is when someone is on your page, you should try to create a blog or a website that is essentially, it's like a book, right? And the way that, go open up any book you have, right? So let's see here. Let's do Traction, right here. Traction. So if I were to open this up, let's look at the chapters. Is this upside down? Oh my gosh, it is. That's hilarious. All right. The way that a book table of contents should function, typically books are better at this than websites. So that's why I'm going to use a book. So in here, let's see if you can see it. It's going to be backwards most likely, so whatever. But point is, when you have chapters, like chapter 1, this could be product tour, chapter 1, chapter 2, integrations, chapter 3, content creation. Think of it like that. So now we have the entrepreneurial operating system, strengthening the 6 key components. So what that's doing is it's defining basically the overarching theme of what it's trying to go into. Then you have letting go of the vine, which should be probably expanding upon what you just went through chapter 1. Then you have the vision component. You see what you are saying. So it keeps going down where the goal of this book is, as you go to the very bottom, literally the last chapter is called Pulling It All Together, the Grand Journey. So that's the idea here, is you want to build a website flow, if you will, or this structure where it makes sense both for the reader and for Google. And if you don't know, what is at the top is more important in Google's eyes and for the reader. So keep that in mind. The lower you go, if you have some important information that you want to talk about on a blog or on any page, if it's low, it means that it's not as important. And it means that specifically the connection to the top, whatever the H1 is, being what is Gitbook on this one, it will not have as strong of a relationship. So make sure that whatever you talk about at the bottom is semantically, like it belongs there, right? Like you need to understand how to apply some sort of ranking system to your content and how you process that content. Now, that is called contextual flow. So page accessibility and contextual flow are kind of the same exact, they're connected. Heading vectors. So what is a heading vector? There's all sorts of vectors, but vector is a 3D space. So this thing right here, imagine this is a three-dimensional space, and you have all of these little dots that are representative of entities. And what Google is doing is, and there's so many layers to this, so I'm not going to go into all of it, but what I will say is in this space, a heading vector means we have a heading and then you have a paragraph below it. So there is a space, a distance between the two. So you want the paragraph to be, that's directly under a heading, to be kind of the most important, best optimized paragraph in that entire section, because it's going to outline the entire, everything else that goes under it. And that is a heading vector. That's not a made-up piece of lingo. That's straight up part of Google's documentation, or at least their patents. So then we go into topical coverage. So that's going to go into things like, am I covering all of the things that I should be covering? So once again, it's not just about how have I structured the page. It's not just about, or the entire site. And it's not just about how I've structured the page itself or the table of contents, whatever you want to say. Not just about the heading vectors. There's also the topics themselves. So you could be very organized, right? And you could go from top down and organize it perfectly where you've done everything, where you've nailed contextual flow. But if you're going into topics that aren't the best topics to even do to begin with, it doesn't really matter if you have that contextual flow. You're going to be ranking for things or doing things that aren't really as optimized as they should be. That's not to say that you won't rank. It's not to say that you're a failure. It's just to say that that is a challenge to be aware of. So you need to understand the topics that you should talk about. You need to understand how to structure those topics. So don't just do a traditional blog where everything that you possibly write about is all there. That's not how you do it. Think about it this way. That's just jumbling up a ton of things, and that structure, you're just missing out on being able to define the entity and define the context, define what you're about. It's losing a lot, and normal blogs just are very flawed. And I think a lot of people hold on to the normal blog system not because it's the best, and I don't think you guys would even say that it is the best. It's a holdover from kind of an antiquated 1990s or early 2000s system where WordPress really popularized web building. It made it accessible so people like me, who I don't have huge web development skills, I can do it, but I usually use themes. I'm not sitting here coding nonstop. So keep that in mind, that really we're using a system that was built a while ago. And there are ways to get around it. Usually you want to do some sort of custom build. Whatever you do, I wish I had more. Unfortunately, Gitbook's only on subdomains. See docs.gitbook. But try to create this system. I cannot emphasize that enough. Try to create something like this on this page too. So let's do share your content. Table of contents should still be here. Sharing options. Yeah, and you want table of contents as well. Having a search bar too, what this does is super nice as well, This is going into, once again, page accessibility. Is when you have a search bar, anything, once again, when I talk about top to bottom processing of information, if you have to go a certain click depth, right? If I have to click, 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 7 clicks, and now I'm finally where I want to go. Well, great, but that is telling Google that's not very important. Otherwise, it would be accessible. So there's one of the ways that people get around that is a flat architecture. I'm not going to go into that, but was it Kyle Roof has a really good SEO Fight Club. Yeah, I can't remember the exact episode. I remember watching it when it came out, but he goes into that. So when you have a search bar like this, what it allows is, or actually, we can do Campbell's. Campbell's Soup. These guys use Yext, which uses Google BERT. So if I were to say tomato soup recipe, right? It's making it super accessible. Everything is like basically one click away. So now I have it all. And what they've done is they've given me the important information all right here. Now, if someone goes, I guess one of the things people are concerned about, specifically with recipes, is, well, if I do that, then they're not going to stay on my website. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Don't worry about delivering that information immediately and succinctly. Like, the whole point is, when I search for Campbell's, or when I search for how to fix a bike, right? And I go to bicycling.com. If I go here and then I hit X and I'm done, that is a mark for Google that my search was satisfied by this website. Doesn't matter if it was 10 seconds, 30 seconds, doesn't matter the dwell time. It's about, was my search journey satisfied? So keep that in mind. If I were to hit back and then continue to go, now it means that for whatever reason, my search wasn't satisfied. What Google now knows about this page and the context of it, it will be applied and aggregated in order to understand users like me in my search journey. And that's how you get things like people also ask. You get things like these things right here. There's all sorts of different things, but Google's looking at how you're interacting from its search engine to someone's web page. I wanted to talk about that just because I think some people, when I've brought up, hey, give the most important information quick, there's a hesitation. Don't feel like you need to hesitate. Ultimately, you want rankings. And if you rank and someone leaves your page and they don't go far enough for you to actually serve them anything that could possibly be commercial in value, well, don't worry. You can remarket to them now. That's a perfectly fine way to use SEO. Sometimes you don't make money with SEO just through SEO. Sometimes SEO is an engine to make ads more profitable, and sometimes ads can be used to make SEO more profitable. Keep that in mind. So all of this together, we've gone through topical coverage. The anchor text you use should be anytime. This is the last thing I'll say because this video is already going to 18 minutes. I'm going to go under 20. I promise I'm going under 20. The last thing I'll say is with anchor text, the way that you want to use your anchor text is, let's say you have a hub article and it talks about something that you have another individual blog on, or you want to make an individual blog on it. Well, what you want to do is you want to create the anchor text that's basically the exact title of whatever your the blog is that you want to send them to. What that's going to do is, well, if there's a paragraph on a hub article that has a lot of authority, it's going to be competing or cannibalizing your rankings. Google will be confused. One of the ways that you make sure that its understanding of the entities on your site and the context of those entities is with anchor text. And when you give it that anchor text, give it that exact, basically the primary keyword, and then you point to another page, that is a clear as day signal. Hey, Google, just so you know, I have this anchor text really close to the heading vectors. Then I'm going to give you this anchor text. That's the title of the other page. And then you go to that page. That's the page that should be ranking for this. And Google also wants to see, this is part of what topical coverage is too. It's not just about covering the topics. It's about making it easy for Google to process the coverage of all the topics. And in that, remember the 3D space. It's all about 3D space. So think about everything you're doing in 3-dimensional space, vectors, geometry, all that good stuff. And it just starts to make sense. So this is how to structure a website. This is how to do entity SEO. Hopefully this was helpful. And for those that have stuck around, as always, I always do one little plug. If you like this, please give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share. It helps me to continue doing this, validates that this is something that's helpful to others. I've gotten a lot of encouraging messages from people saying that this has really improved their understanding of SEO, and I'm really glad. If you want services in any way, heliumseo.com right here is my agency's website. And then if you want AI content and keyword research help, my content is written specifically to process those topics in a structured way. So the one thing that tools don't do is, while tools can tell you that you have all the entities, they don't tell you that you've processed the entities in the order they need to be processed. And I'm not going to say that mine is perfect. I'm always improving. But I did make it, my tool, in a specific way to process these topics so that there's a contextual flow, that heading vectors are solid, and my topic maps that I have included in the tool are meant to achieve topical coverage. So just keep that in mind. We're also adding an anchor text feature here soon. Trying to figure out if I can do something to help people with page accessibility, but that's going to be hard. With Helium, we do anything from, I just click services, but do anything from SEO, pay-per-click, consulting, or conversion rate optimization, web design, and just normal consulting. Fill out a form. Otherwise, you can also just click schedule a call. You'll schedule a call with one of our digital strategy consultants. We're happy to help you out. If you want to reach me, we can do that as well. Just leave a comment and or message me on Facebook or LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is right here. The video is done. I said it wouldn't go over 20 minutes, and I'm not. This is just extra stuff. So Andrew Ansley Marketing. Facebook is right here. And this is Andrew S. Ansley. You'll see my little content sprout thing with this luchador with with a sprout and all the other AI tools that have been defeated by the luchador. So, yep. Make sure to check out my busted SEO video. And feel free to follow me, connect with me, whatever it is. Just let me know how you found me. A lot of people send me connections and then I just don't care because I don't know them. And they're usually trying to sell me shit and I don't care. That's it. So until next time, hopefully this was helpful. And I appreciate all the people that spend their hours watching my content. It's awesome. I'm glad that I can help.